Welcome to the webcast on how to submit a NCFR conference proposal. I am Cindy Winter, NCFR conference consultant. We are pleased that you are wanting to submit a proposal for this year's conference. I'm going to show you a step-by-step process on how to submit the proposal on the oxfordabstracts.com, which is our database for submissions. Before you begin, I would like to encourage you to download the 2022 NCFR call for proposals. I have the NCFR webpage up that says call for proposals. I'm scrolling down and it says download the call for proposals. And I would like you to pay attention closely to pages 4 through 6, which will tell you about the formats that we have, how to write up a symposium proposal, a checklist of materials that you need to have ready before you ever go on to the Oxford Abstract list. And then there's page 6 says how to submit your proposal online. And so those are the things that we'll talk about. So then, before we begin on the process of submitting a proposal here, I want to encourage you, that if you've never submitted a proposal before and you would like some mentoring, that if you send your proposal to me, Cindy Winter at ncfr.org, by February 15th, we will send your proposal to a mentor that will give you some helpful hints so that you can revise your proposal before you submit by the deadline, which is March 1st, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And we really encourage you to do this because we have a cadre of many mentors that will be glad to help you with the whole submission process and how to write your proposal. So please take advantage of that by February 15th. Okay, now let's go to submit a conference proposal. So we're clicking there. And the first thing it will ask is for your email. And I'm going to, for your email and your password. Okay, so if you've been submitted a proposal to NCFR in 2018 to 2021, you're already listed in the Oxford database. So you just click on the sign in or create and put in your email and your password, if you remember it, and you'll be directed right away to the submission form. But let's say that I've forgotten my password. So you click on forgot my password and it lists my email address. Send me a reset email. So now I'm going to go back to my email. And here comes the link, and it says follow this link to reset your password. So I'm going to do that. It should show up here in a second. There we go. Okay, new password. And I'm going to click it in here. Then reset your password. Okay, submit. Okay, and then I can go in again. Now I'm going to, and then you'll start right away. Now I'm going to say that we've never submitted a proposal before. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to type in a new one. Okay, it says email not found, register. So I click on that. Okay, and then I confirm the email. Okay. And then you can put in a title if you want, like a doctor, Mr., Mrs., or Ms., or whatever. And then we'll first name, last name. Now you'll notice that everything that has an asterisk is a mandatory question that must be answered. Okay, so then I'm going to scroll down, password. Okay, create account. After you have created your account, you will see the screen, verify your email. Click on resend email. You will then receive an email back from Oxford that asks you to verify your email. After clicking on the link to verify your email, you will be directed to the login page. Enter your login information to then enter the submission form. Okay, this is the start of the submission page. Now you'll get the welcome letter, and it tells you that anything with an asterisk is a mandatory question, which must be completed prior to your proposal being submitted. And it gives instructions about submitting to the TCRM or affiliated councils. And so then you just go on from there with some others. The big thing to remember is where it says spam filters. Before submitting this form, make sure your email system is set to allow emails from support@oxfordabstracts.com, send mail at oxfordabstracts.com, and Cindy Winter at ncfr.org. Because everything that is coming, all of the information and from NCFR for a submission process is coming from oxfordabstracts.com. And so you want to be sure that they're a safe email, and that because otherwise if it's goes into spam, you may not find it. So just be sure to make sure those are safe senders. Okay, the next thing that we're going to fill out is the authors and employers, or the college or university where this authors are a student. For all first authors and presenting authors, you must list a current employer and job title, highest degree earned, discipline and institution from which the highest degree was earned, current licenses, and email address. And then if you wish, you can also add an alternate email address. Now, for co-authors that are not presenting, you only need to include the email address and employer, but be sure to key in something in that field so that you won't get something that says that all mandatory fields are not filled out. So remember too that it is mandatory that at least one author be listed and marked as presenting. And then there'll be some information about symposia. And then anything that any names you don't list in here will not be printed in the author index or any online or printed materials. Okay, so now we start filling in the authors, and just to show you what I mean about the second authors, I will fill in a second one too. So the first name, you just put in your first name. Middle initial is not mandatory. Last name is, click on presenting, and we don't, and degree in there. Email, I'm going to put in, we'll just put in there. Current job title, that's mandatory. Email, current job title are mandatory. Okay. Current department. Now this is because you're the first author. Where the degree was earned, licenses if you have any. This is not mandatory, but if you have them, it's helpful. Degree of discipline, or discipline of degree, is there. Highest degree earned. And then an alternate email if you wish. Then the employer is mandatory. City and province are not, but country is, and you select from a pull-down menu. Okay, then we're going to go to add another author, and this will be our second author. And again, title is not particularly first name, last name, or middle initial. And they're not presenting, so you don't have to do that. And you don't do email, put that in. Current job title, just type in the word NA, which means not applicable. Current department, not applicable. Where degree earned, not applicable. Licenses, discipline of where you got your degree, the field. Highest degree earned, NA. Alternate email we wouldn't have. And let's see. And then affiliation, fill that in. That is necessary. And the country. Okay. Then you just do this as many times as you need for authors. Everyone must fill the next part, the student, new professional, and professional status. It's a pull-down menu, and you just indicate which you are: undergrad, student, master's, doctoral, new professional, or professional. If the first author is a student, then you're asked to fill out this. Is this proposal the result of the student's thesis, dissertation, and then you put yes or no. The next thing is the preferred presentation format. We have a listing of all the different formats that we have here. And it's really important, if you can, to select more than one format, because if you have a high enough score, then you have a better chance of being accepted. If there's only like a workshop or something, not quite as many of these things are available, and you may not get accepted. So then you would put in here like paper. This is my first one. Then you ask, the second preferred format is required 2, and then any unacceptable presentation formats. You can click all of them if you want, but any, and then just remember again that the more formats that you have, the better chance you have for being accepted if your score is high enough. Then the next thing is to do your title. You have up to 20 words for that. And then a short abstract. And this is going to be shown to as well as your long proposal, to the reviewers. And so then you have up to 150 words. So you'd put that in. Okay, if your submission is a symposium, then we have here a sample of what this question should look like, which is listing all of your papers and who the authors are, the discussant, moderator, whatever you have there. And then in this down here, you will write in everything that is using this as an example above. Okay, the next thing, in order to be for NCFR to have continuing education with some other organizations allowing you credits for that, for hours, we have to have 3 measurable objectives. And on page 5 of the call for proposals, you'll see some sample ones here. So we'll do the first one and the second one and the third one. Okay. The next question, which is mandatory again, is the focus of your proposal. Like, is it a qualitative, quantitative, mixed method, and so forth? And so you would pick the type of focus that it is. Now, if the proposal is a qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods research study, please identify your specific methodology. So if you've not listed either qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods, you don't have to fill out this question. Okay, the next mandatory question is whether your proposal is primarily research-oriented or practice-oriented. Okay, then the next question is very important. It's the preferred section to which you wish to submit your proposal. NCFR has 10 sections. We have the theory, construction, and research methodology workshop, affiliated councils, or students and new professionals. Now it says here that affiliated councils and TCRM have a separate submission process, which isn't done here through Oxford. So then you'll look at the, I would suggest looking at pages 7 through 13 of the call for proposals, because the section chairs have each told what the thrust of how they want their proposals done, or it tells what the section is all about. And so then you can choose whichever one you want. Now, for students and new professionals, the one thing you have to remember is that they only want proposals that are strictly professional development. If it's any other subject area, then do not select students and new professionals, but select another section that you feel it fits. Okay, now the next 4 questions are specific to certain things, like the first one, primarily practitioner. If your proposal is primarily research, you don't need to answer this question. But if it's practitioner, does it provide specific practice recommendations, and yes or no? Okay, then the next one is if you've submitted to the family policy section, and it's got a specific question that it needs to be answered. And there again, you'd mark yes or no. The next question is only if you've submitted to the family therapy section. And again, it has a question and you'd answer yes or no. And the other next question is if you've gone to the family and community education section, and then it wants you to specify the contribution of each author on the proposal and what they've done. Okay, so then the next part of this is getting keywords. And these are mandatory. There are 3 categories of keywords that will help identify the thrust of your proposal. And this also helps when we identify reviewers that are familiar with the work that you are doing. So we have subject codes, primary population codes, and method and approach codes. And you are required to select one code from each category. And we have a series of 3 questions for each of the categories of keywords. So you can identify up to 9 codes, 3 questions of each, but you're only required to do 1. But we will say that the more codes you have helps in the identification process of reviewers. So the first subject code now is in alphabetic order, and you can select that. And the second and the third codes you can enter if you wish. And there again, it's the same, it's all again in alpha order. And you can or you don't have to. Okay, the next required one then is the first population code, which is selecting from capitalized terms like ability, age, and so forth. And they've done them in groupings rather than placing each term in alphabetic order. So for instance, under ability or disability, there are several different things, autism spectrum and so forth. And each of the categories will be like this. And you would select one. And so then second population if you want, or third population, again, if you wish. Now, the method and approach codes are the way that the whole thing about your research and at. These again are in alphabetic order, and you can put in whatever you wish for there. And then again, you can do the second and third approach codes if you wish. Now, there is another question that's not mandatory, but it says if there are specific theories that that you do not see listed in the method and approach codes, then you would list those right here. Okay. Then we have comments to section chairs and reviewers. Again, this is not mandatory, but if you have something specific that you want to say to either the section chair or the reviewers that might help make them understand better what your proposal is about, you can list it there. Okay, then the next thing we do, it gives instructions for loading your long proposals, and it tells all the different elements that are necessary in your long proposals. And then also gives special instructions for a symposium proposal. And so follow those carefully before you load your proposal. Then you load your proposal, and that is mandatory. And we ask that it is in PDF format, because if it's in any other format, it does not always hold the formatting that you want it to. But if you have it in a PDF, then it does. So we just ask that everything be done in PDF. Okay, then now we have some other questions. This one, author approval, is mandatory, and it says, I confirm that this proposal has been approved by all authors. So be sure that before you submit the proposal, if you have several authors, that they're all on board with you. Okay, the proposal status. We want to have materials that have not been published. We want it to be something new. And so we have a yes or a no. Hopefully it will be a no. But if you said yes, then you need to answer this question, which gives the details as to what has gone on and what's going to happen, and that will make a difference. Okay, commercial interest. If any of your authors have commercial interests or associations that might pose a conflict of interest regarding this submission, you would click that, otherwise you leave it blank. And if you check that box, then you need to give details if you filled that out. The next two questions are very important. Okay, permission to publish. This gives NCFR permission to reproduce your abstracts and so forth. We're not going to read the whole thing here, but you need to check this box, but you need to read it very, very carefully to understand what is going on. And if you have any questions, then just contact us. The next required question is that declaring that you've read all the requirements, and that if the proposal is accepted, then at least one author must be present, and to attend the conference and present it, they have to register for the conference and pay the registration fee. And there are some other things, again, that you need to read very carefully before you do this. Now, to help us in selecting reviewers, we have a series of many, many focus groups in NCFR. And if you are a member of any of these focus groups, this is not mandatory, but if you are, and many people are in several, you can put all these in here. And okay, then the next question is, if you're interested in being a reviewer for this year's conference. Now, you must be an NCFR member to review, but there's a link there where you can look at what's expected of you, and then that will give you a link to the database where you can sign up and for being a reviewer. And if you are accepted and have any proposals to review, you'll get an email from NCFR on the 14th of March. You have between March 14th and 30th to complete your reviews. Okay, then if you have ideas of other NCFR members that could be good reviewers, you can list them here if you wish. Okay, and then if you wish to get an email when the conference registration opens, you can fill out a yes or a no. Okay, then you'll get a little footer, and it'll talk about thanks for submitting, and you can make changes and so forth. So then if it gives you other instructions, then you would click on submit. Now it says submission is incomplete. It's got, I just put in garbage, so I don't have a valid email, but continue then. And it's loading your submission form, and this is what it looks like. And then if it looks okay, you can either amend if you need to or continue. So I'm clicking on continue. Okay, this is what your screen will look like. And after you hit continue, then you'd click on view for 2022. And it will show what your submission is. And then if you want to add a submission at this point, you can click on add new submission, or you can just go out. Okay, and then remember that all submissions and changes to proposals must be completed by March 1st, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Please feel free to contact the section chairs listed on pages 7 through 13 if you have questions about the content of your proposal, or if you have questions or anything that pops up that you're having trouble with in Oxford. Feel free to contact me at Cindy Winter at ncfr.org or call me at 612-759-8580. Good luck, and thank you for watching.